Hello, world. Patricia O'Connor. It has been a fun day and little pet. Go from the video to the orange, the tungsten. Yeah, that kind of adjusted there. Took a second. That's it. That's a look at the Ponderosa. Ponder the Ponderosa. I'll hop my happy butt up and we'll just walk around and have a look through the light and all that. All right. It looks much better. It looks much better in real life than it did looked in its pictures, and I fell in love with it by the pictures. I also thought by the pictures that I wanted to do something to this that once I saw it in real life, I do not. This is much bigger and much flatter. This is a much flatter part than I thought. I was looking at this and thinking I was kind of curious about this transition, but this is the part that's flat. I really dig that. This would be cool. I would like to do one of my some of my curly Q stuff there. Some of my Cheerios. I'm just looking at the needles. They all look a little turned in. Also, when I was corresponding with the grower, he had said that they were getting flooded. It looks like it might have been a little. Also, all of this was packed with wet rags so that it wouldn't. I mean, wet paper towels. Not really paper towels, more like shop towels. So that the tree wouldn't dry out on the trip, which is how you do it. But now the tree smells like mildew. Have to worry that it's been wet in there for a long time. And, that's the thing. When you're traveling with something like that, a lot of times people will put newspaper or something that's wet and then they'll shrink wrap that down so that the tree doesn't dehydrate, can maintain some moisture during the trip. But right now, it smells like mildew, really strong in here. But the tree is beautiful, and the needles do look a little ragged from the trip, but they seem to be all the buds are standing up nicely, and it seems to be. I don't think it's really any worse for health. It looks to already have a little traces of bio gold in there, so. It's deal with us. We'll start off kind of light. We will start it off on a little bio gold. And yeah, I had talked about wanting to change the angle of this tree to bring this piece flatter. And it was this area I wanted flatter. I think in the picture that I had seen, the picture was taken more looking up like this. And whenever I'm looking at it on the level like we are now, I see how that just does exactly what I wanted it to do. And also, when it looked to me like when the tree was packed up, they might have had trouble. With some of it because it looked to me like some of the branches had been folded inward, like they built the frame and they measured the height, and then that frame and that, in order to get it all to fit in there, some things had to be manipulated. What wasn't manipulated was this. I did that. This piece looked like it might have been moved in order to necessitate shipping. Some of this stuff looks like it might have been moved, and it still can. It's not necessarily, none of this is necessarily locked into place. But yeah, I'm thinking that if I come down more with that and put some Cheerios in that might be pretty. And because of this trunk, it's already got those spirals going. That kind of marries us in to those type of movements, It's like we come by those type of movements natural. In the picture, I didn't know if I was going to like this part, and in reality, I like it quite a lot, actually. Um, yeah, yeah. I was also thinking maybe this piece might come, this piece right here. I saw that as potentially coming down and spiraling here. I'm not sure now. I think that might be cool though. That might still be something that I might look at doing. Take this piece and start bringing it down and bend it around something and do my fulcrum. When I looked at this piece was kind of where it was now, except these guys were out here. And I had just got through looking at a tree that had this part that bent in, and I just had admired something about that very shape at that moment. And so while I was trying to return the tree back, to the shape that I remembered in the picture, based on the fact that I thought that some things had moved in order to make it shippable, one thing I did was, as I wanted this pointed this way, and so I spun it around that way. I like that. Like that. It might need to come down or something, but I like this pointing. I like this part pointing back at itself. And I think that tree is great. This is a mica pot. I was actually glad to see that was a mica pot. I thought it was an unglazed pot, but I'm not really crazy about the pot. So I actually like it better knowing that that I don't like a plastic pot better than I don't like a big heavy unglazed pot. This would probably be a nice looking pot for that. And what I was saying earlier, what I was thinking about doing was raising the tree up 4 inches or so. 4 inches or so, bringing it right on up, and then leaning it forward. Well, I don't want to lean it forward hardly any at all now, maybe just a little, but I still like the idea of bringing it up a little and tilting it forward, maybe just a little. These gins look better, have aged a little since, and look a little better in person than what I saw in the pictures. And I could tell that it had bark that, a nabari or a base or roots or whatever that ran all the way across the bottom. But to see them now in person, they look really good. And the tree still looks to me like it needs to dry out some. But all in all, I just think this is a great looking tree. And yeah, I don't think this is right. I don't think this was sitting like this. Something in here has moved to facilitate the move, to facilitate the trip. And I'm not sure. But I like this little curl here. I could make and that's how you make a Cheerio. Anyway, I think that would be fun to bring this piece down. I can bring it down right here and then fulcrum it around something. All right, so that's a quick look at that. And I'm going to do another video on our second acquisition. We're just so lucky. I accidentally, on purpose, I mean, there are no accidents, right? I was looking for a bonsai pot on the bonsai auction. I was looking for a bonsai pot for this. I was looking to replace this when I knew I was buying it, before I knew it was mica. And when I was looking on there, I saw a tree that I was interested in, and I kind of bought it. So I wasn't intending to buy 2 trees in a week, and I didn't I didn't get all crazy like I'm going to buy that tree, but I put a bid on it that I thought would make the reserve go away. And I thought that, at that point we would have a shot at it with a day or two to go on the auction. So I did that, and I was right. The reserve went away, and 2 hours later the auction was over, not 2 days later, and I'd won that sucker. So good news is I got a cork bark, a Japanese black pine for a price that I wanted to get it for, that I would have been happy to get it for. And I was kind of being slicker than I realized. I thought I was bidding on that thing, and then I thought somebody would come along after me, and seeing that the reserve was off, somebody would probably bid against it in the day that it would, or so that it would sit there. And at that point, when that happened, I would reevaluate how I felt about the whole thing. Nobody was more surprised than me when I got notified 2 hours later that I'd won the auction. But I was actually happy. Okay, I'll show you this. That. Heck yeah, look at that guy. Isn't that something? I think that's something. I'm pretty happy. This was going to be 2 videos. Now it's 1 just because. It came out of Atlanta. Yeah, it's still the shipper. The shipper did a pretty good job. The shipper is, I think, in the Bonsai Club in Atlanta. And I used to live in Atlanta. When I worked in the motion picture industry, I worked out of Atlanta. And seeing this tree's shipping history brought back a lot of memories. It took off from Doraville, Georgia, which is, it was part of my life. I lived right down the road from where this guy shipped out of. I know that UPS facility fairly well. And so this is what this tree looks like. It's a nice looking little Japanese black pine. It was on the auction. Like I said, I was on there scrolling through really fast, looking for bonsai pots. So I wasn't even looking. I just scrolled through all the pictures to go through them fast to see if I saw any pots that I like. And every once in a while I would see a pine and slow down or back up, and then at that point maybe I would click on view ad or view let's see, what was it, view thread, so that led me to here, and it was on, and it said bidding had started at $150, and it had a buy it now for $650, and it was at $250, and the reserve had not been met yet. So I looked at it and I went, well, I know what it'll take to make. I used to have an eBay business, so I kind of spent a couple of years playing with the auctions. Plus, I kind of fooled with the auction some with my family in the antique business that we dabbled in. It wasn't serious stuff, but we would go to a few auctions, and on auction day it was fairly serious. It just wasn't necessarily our way of life or anything. But anyway, short story long, I kind of know my way around auctions, and I kind of knew that if I typed in a certain number that I would make the reserve go away. And I thought, it'll sit there for a day or two with the reserve met, and somebody will see that I'm in and about to get this tree for not a whole lot of money, and it is a cork bark Japanese black pine, and it does have it's a grafted tree. You can see where it's grafted, but some serious root work, and I might could fan all of this part out again, you know how we've been doing already. It's got hay all over it. What you see me doing, the guy did a pretty good job with shipping. He was really quick. He was really thorough. But the last thing he did was, after he shrunk wrapped the pot and did all of that, is he filled the pot up. He filled the box up with hay. Yeah, there's hay all in there. All that white stuff you see that looks like dead needles or something is where I got to go picking out. Anyway, I'm not going to call that a complaint. I've got nothing to complain about. So what I did on there was I looked at that and I went, well, if I bid $400, the reserve the reserve will go away and I'll be the high bidder on that tree. And since it's Saturday and the auction ends on Sunday, sometime tomorrow or maybe tonight or something, I'll get a notification that I'm no longer the swinging Richard on this auction. And I'll evaluate how I feel about that and decide whether or not I want to bid some more. And that's really about all I thought about it. So I bid $400, and like I thought, I got a notification within a minute later that the reserve light had gone off. And folks, we well and truly do have ourselves an auction. And I thought, well, if nothing else, I got the guy's guaranteed he'll sell his tree now. I don't think I'll get the tree for that amount of money. And if it goes for a couple of hundred more than that, I don't know. And somebody else will probably push the buy it now for $650 because it's a 15-year-old cork bark Japanese black pine. So that would have been that would have been my guess. Had I not just bought a tree, I probably would have pushed the bid. But instead, 2 hours later, I was notified that I won. So, yay! It has quite a bit going for it. It has a really nice trunk. It's kind of got that slingshot shape in that this is one huge limb with one branch coming out of the side here, and then one branch coming out of the very end, which is kind of long. It comes right. That's that. That, I can't bend this, but I could bend this. This could come back around and be bent. Could be cut off too. A lot of this stuff could be cut off. This is starting to get kind of hard and it's starting to get kind of woody, but it could still be bent. It could still be, it could still be moved. And then you can see we've got another branch back here, and it's giving us one of those. This guy up here, there's a lot of stuff that I could clean out here. And in the couple of days I've been looking at this, I'm going, that sure is a healthy looking candle. They tell me that if I were to try to air layer that candle on a cork bark, that their roots are just so tired that it would probably not ever take. But that looks like a healthy candle. And otherwise, I would cut it. In fact, I'm going to go through here at some point after I've more firm about my decision. You see, we're looking at this branch, but there's another one behind it just like it. And that one doesn't have one branch coming out of the end. It's doing that on the end. So we could pull this one around this way for a back and then let the other one back here with its two do stuff. And then maybe take one of these up here. But I could at least give that a shot at an air layer before I go hacking that off. And the reason I would do that is that would give me a cork bark Japanese black pine on its own root, if we were able to get that to happen. And that does look like a really healthy, that does to me look like a healthy candle. I don't know. Right now it looks like it's underfed. I would say it's underfed. So We'll throw some bio gold in that. It spent the day. It came in today about 1 o'clock. Spent most of that time after it got unboxed. It spent most of its time on the little green table out on the balcony, where we sometimes shoot our balcony stuff when I'm sitting at a table doing stuff. At that little table, it spent the day there, not in really direct sun, but just more or less under the lights. It'll do that again tomorrow. We'll acclimate it. I'll also start throwing a little bio gold, putting a little bio gold here. The Ponderosa ponder will get a fresh dose of bio gold as well. And then in the next couple of days, when it comes time to come through and water everybody, we will mix our systemic treatment in with that and get our guys started off on that. And we'll be off to the races. We'll just let them settle in. It's got some pretty good color. Its needles look a little beat up here. This tree also had a couple of squares, cardboard squares, thrown in on top of all the hay, but it worked its way down and it was just kind of laying here on the needles. So all of this stuff was matted flat, really matted, and it's starting to spring up some. But that's the way that goes. I'm pretty happy with. I'm really happy with the tree. I'm really happy with the amount of time it took for the tree to get here. I'm really happy with the vendor, his ability to act quickly, get the tree out the door quickly, and I would say the hay probably could be problematic. But other than that, I'm not really going to complain about it. I appreciate the fact that it wasn't. I appreciate the fact that it wasn't styrofoam popcorn, and it was styrofoam popcorn. There was quite a bit of that in here too. But this person had done something I hadn't seen anybody done. They had like Ziploc baggies that were full of styrofoam popcorn. So everything goes from there right to the garbage can. Nothing floats away. Nothing gets away. I thought that was kind of interesting. So, yeah, that's kind of what we got going there. Like and subscribe. If you guys haven't already, we are going to make a decision as to what branches are going to come and go on this guy. You see how those are looking underneath there? There's a lot of stuff. Nobody's really been doing anything, and all that looks matted down like it was probably laying on packing material and stuff. So, that was kind of a hard landing. So a little bit of cleanup, a little bit of getting this stuff to relax, a little bit of it looked like it flew through a barn. In the movies when something flies through a barn, they've always got like chicken feathers in their hair or something. It's kind of what it reminds me of. In a couple of days, this guy will start relaxing. I'll start to get some ideas about what I'd like to do. It should be pretty easy to style. It's got a lot of choices, and they're all, it's like it was tailor-made just for this moment. These are all ready to do something, or they're ready to get cut away and reveal something, and there's some plenty of good stuff here to reveal. So that's kind of what I'm saying there. In the next couple of days, we'll make some choices, and we'll make this look a lot nicer. I've already got a pot in mind for this, but we won't do that. And I could also repot it now, but we won't do that for a minute. The pot it'll probably go in is the one you can see dead center on the table underneath the little mini plant stand. I don't know how well focused that is. My glasses don't make it look like it's in focus very well. All right. And that's just a little quick look at our acquisitions. I'm really happy with the way things turned out. It was a stressful couple of days waiting for these two trees to come in. especially with the temperatures that we've been having around the country. And I would say for the most part, I got really lucky on both of them, and I'm glad to have them both here. And thank you all so much for watching.